Welcome to Family Gamer TV. It kind of feels like at the moment that there aren't very many games around for the Wii U, but there is at least one more coming later this month, and that's Game & Wario. My family really liked playing the older Wario games on the Game Boy Advance and the DS, and specifically the one on the GameCube because it has great multiplayer and it's all that traditional Wario gameplay. In fact, we still play it now with our 4 GameCube controllers and our old GameCube console. And before you rush out and buy Game & Wario, there are a couple of things to know about it. If you come into it expecting that traditional Wario experience, you might be disappointed. But as long as you take it for what it is, which is a collection of mini-games designed to show off the gamepad controller, then it's a pretty good game, especially for families and other groups of people. There are only 4 multiplayer games among this selection, but they're pretty good and they cover a range of experiences. So one of these games is called Fruit, and my family immediately thought that it was kind of like the Nintendo Land games. You have one person on the gamepad, and they have one job to do, and then the rest of the players are doing something else. So in this case, the player on the gamepad picks a character, and then they play as a thief. So they run around in different environments, and they go and steal, they're trying to steal fruit in this case. And the other players have to watch and guess which one the thief is, and then try and name them at the end. Now, you don't even need the Wii remotes for this game. In fact, you don't need the Wii remotes at all for Game & Wario. So in this case, what you do is you pass the gamepad around and you let the other players guess, and then whoever guesses right wins. One of the other games is called Islands, and this is more like the real-world game Balls, which you play in the garden where you roll out your ball and then you roll out other ones to try and knock each other's off and get closest to the one you're trying to get to. So in this case, you fling things onto a little a disc, a floating disc. And you try and get in it's kind of like a dartboard, you try and get in the sections to get the most points. And the other players can throw their things onto the same board and knock your token off. There's special items that go around and knock everyone's off and things like that. It gets very competitive and quite kind of fast-paced and fun. One of the other multiplayer games that will feel quite familiar is Sketch, which is kind of like Pictionary. Now, this is the one my brothers and sisters played the most. So what you do is you have one person on the gamepad and they're drawing with the stylus a picture of a word that they can see on their screen but you can't see on the TV. So everyone watching the TV can see what the person is drawing, but they can't see what it is, what the word is that they're supposed to be drawing. And they have to guess. Now, like in the other games, they don't have Wii remotes, so there's nothing for them to press, no buttons or anything like that. They just have to look at the screen and shout out the answer when they've got it. And then the person with the gamepad picks who got it first, and then they get points, and then you pass around and someone else has a go. The cool thing about this is that before you play the game, you each take a picture of yourself with the gamepad controller's camera, and then when you get points, it flashes up on the screen with a picture of your face, which you can make look funny with all kinds of filters and stuff like that, which adds kind of a fun little element to it that my brothers and sisters quite liked. One of the other multiplayer games is actually only for 2 players, but it's quite interesting anyway. You don't even really need to look at the TV, you just look at the gamepad. You each sit one side of it, kind of like an iPad board game where you each have half the screen. And what you do is you tap your fingers on lines that come down the screen and it makes music, it makes a little song. And then it passes along to the next player, to their edge of the gamepad, and they have to tap the same notes in the same rhythm to get the points. The cool thing about this is that you can make it as easy or hard as you want for them. The great thing about these multiplayer games is that although they're not kind of traditional console multiplayer games where you each have a controller and you're each trying to do your own thing, it's good because you're not each concentrating on one separate kind of part of the screen or one separate controller. You're all looking at the same thing, apart from the gamepad player, and you're kind of all joining in. And even people outside of the game can join in as well. So if there are any parents sitting in the background, they can shout out the answers as well and things like that. It kind of fosters a kind of board game, family game, charades at Christmas, that kind of experience, which is quite good fun. And it's what the Wii U is really about. The single-player games also show off the gamepad functionality, and they also provide an opportunity for other people to kind of watch and join in, although some more than others. So there's one called Camera, which makes the gamepad into an actual, you use it like a camera. So you hold it up and look at the TV screen through it, and you're playing the role of a photojournalist. So you're trying to catch criminals and take pictures of them, and the gamepad kind of zooms in on where you're looking on the screen. Now other people can help you because they can just see the screen and they can point out where they think the characters might be, and then you can move the gamepad over there and zoom in. So you take your pictures of your criminals, and there's also bonus things to look for and things like that. So it's quite good fun. Another one is called Patchwork, and this one's a bit quieter. You just look at the gamepad and you do kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. On easy mode, you're given an outline to work with and you just have to move the pieces into it. But on hard mode, you're not even told what it is that you're trying to create. So you have to really use your imagination and try and work out what it is. Again, other people can join in, so they can see what's on the screen, they can see you moving the pieces around, and they can point out where they think that they should go. It's very it's good for getting people to join in and play together, even though it's a single-player game. Now, one of these single-player games that will remind you of the old Wario games is called Gamer. Now, you're playing a young boy who's trying to carry on playing with his handheld games console, even though his mum has told him to go to bed. But what you're doing is you're actually playing the games that the boy is playing in the game. So you're playing mini-games on your gamepad, and the mini-games are in the style of the old Wario games, which people who've played the original ones will really like. But while you're doing that, while you're playing these mini-games, you have to also concentrate on what's going on the TV, because if your mum pops in and sees you, then you lose. So other people can kind of watch out for you, or you can keep looking up from the screen to see what's happening, but you have to hide what you're doing before your mum comes in and spots you. This is quite a funny game, but my youngest brother actually didn't like it very much. He said it reminded him of kind of a scary movie where you're waiting for the monster to come in and spot you. Now, some of these games are better than others, although it will depend on your personal preference. You do have to unlock all of the single-player games as you go. So when you first load it up, you'll only have one, and you have to get to the end of it, at least the end of the first level, to unlock all the other ones. Luckily, it's not very hard, and you also unlock tokens as you go. And you can use these tokens to buy cards, either hint cards that give you suggestions on how to become better at the games, or character cards, which give you some information on the Wario characters that are actually included in the game. The good thing about these is when you unlock a card, it will tell you which player unlocked it when they were playing and come up with a little picture of their face again, which provides a bit of friendly competition. So other people might want to see if they can unlock the most number of cards before you do or whatever, which might add some longevity to the game and get people playing it more than they might do otherwise. At the end of the day, though, this Game & Wario isn't really like a Mario game or a Wario game that you might expect. It's more like Nintendo Land, so it's a collection of mini games. It really shows off what the controller can do, and it's really good for getting out when you've got a big group of people together and you want to show off your Wii U console. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.